I want to kind of give you a baseline for how you need to be looking at relationships, business, content, social media, your network, corporate America. I want to give you a baseline for how you're supposed to be looking at everything that you're navigating life through, right? You're going to run into people every single day along your journey that is largely going to be the determining factor for whether or not you are successful. Okay? So let me give you a little bit of insight. Steve Harvey has been at the forefront of every conversation. And I was talking to somebody yesterday on a coaching call, and we were having a conversation because this person that I was coaching yesterday just so happened to be very, very, very visible in social media and circles and things like that. And they asked me a question and they said, Anton, hypothetically speaking, if you were single today, and I know that you say that you would never get married again based off of the fact that you only do it one time, but let's assume for the sake of the conversation that you're not married or whatever it is, whether you ever got married, hypothetical. I said, okay, I'll play along. I don't really do hypotheticals, but for the sake of conversation, let's talk about it, right? And he said, if you were single today, as a 41-year-old man, successful, has some visibility, how do you view relationships? And I gave him the same answer that I give you guys on a regular basis, and I'll be reading Super Chat shortly. Shout out to Impact. I gave him the same answer that I give you guys today. My answer have not changed. I look at everything from a business perspective first. Now, a lot of people get that mixed up and they say, well, what about love? Shouldn't you love the person? Shouldn't that be a determining factor? What about attraction? What about all of these other different factors, right? Just because you have a priority and you say that you look at everything from a business perspective first does not mean that you absolve yourself from loving the person. I think that love is not a feeling, it's a sense of duty. The way that you show you love somebody is by meeting the obligations and the expectations that you set before them, and you fulfill your word. And then how you feel about them often at times comes along with it, right? A lot of people don't understand that even when it comes to marriage and relationships, it's largely predicated on the idea that we have to look at it from a business perspective first, even if you want to look at it biblically, right? The Bible is definitely, if not the most prevalent business book that I've ever seen, period, across the board. It has so many different business lessons that I've gleaned from in order to ensure that we continue to level up and get to that bag and become successful in everything that we do. Think about it, though. Think about it. Why would you ever associate yourself with somebody that does not align with you from a business perspective? If the most important person in your life is the person that is going to determine life and death if anything ever happens to you, if it is the person that ultimately is going to determine how it is that you're going to be successful, if the most important person is the person that you lay next to, you close your eyes next to that person every single day. If that is the determining factor, right, for whether or not you're going to be successful, you have to raise kids with this person. You make business decisions every single day as a result of it. If that is the determining factor, then why wouldn't you look at it from a business perspective first? Just curious. How do you not see everything from a business perspective first? Looking at somebody and say, I wonder if she would be a good mother, is a business decision. Let's go back to the question that the guy asked me. And he said, what would be the determining factor for whether or not you would date somebody? Well, in that position, if I'm just now aligning myself with somebody, right, then that means that I'd have to then make a decision of whether or not the person actually enhance what my brand is or they bring me down. Do you know that most of these Hollywood relationships Most Hollywood relationships are manufactured and it's not even real. Most Hollywood relationships are manufactured and it's not even real. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West getting together was a good business decision for everybody. Now, whether or not you start to simp out and you start to look at it a little bit differently and you start to feel a certain type of way because she finessed you at the end and she said, yo, I don't even want you. I want to go over here with Pete Davidson. If you get in your feelings and you start making decisions based off of how you see it, then that's a completely different conversation. But every single person that's in your life, they either have to add value or they're going to be on the other side and not adding value. That's why I ask y'all to make sure that y'all divest yourself against the people that's not adding value into your life on a regular basis. If you have a brother and he is your blood brother in your life, and he is taking away from you every time you're around him, he drains you, he puts you in compromising positions. If you get in the car and you have to worry about whether or not this person has a pistol under their seat or if the police is going to arrest them, or if you're seen with them, then they're going to ultimately diminish what it is that you have. If you can't take this person to go and visit your business colleagues, if you can't bring your wife over into a business retreat, if your kids are bad, if your wife go out without you and she making herself look bad out here in the streets, she's a reflection of you, then that is a bad business decision and you need to get your household in order. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people lean into the idea of sex first. I love them. You having a child out of wedlock is a bad business decision. We know by all metrics, we literally can go and research it, that women that have children out of wedlock are going to suffer more than anybody else in society. More importantly, we know that the child being raised in a single parent household has a much greater chance of being a liability in society than if they were raised in a two-parent household, married, with a strong family structure. So how can you then make the determination of whether or not a woman is going to have your child? Or more importantly, as a woman, how can you make the determination of a guy inserting you, even with the possibility of having a child with you, without considering all factors? I look at those type of women. Let me just be absolutely honest with you. I look at those type of women as some of the biggest liabilities in our society today, and I'm going to tell you why. I look at women that decide to have children out of wedlock and become a single baby mother as some of the dumbest people on the face of the earth, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, this is not to throw the baby mamas out with the bathwater, because it doesn't mean you can't come back from it. It doesn't mean that you can't make smart decisions. It doesn't mean that you can't do things that's in the right way. It doesn't mean that you can't even be forgiven or whatever it is, right? You find a simp, you go and marry him, he go and take care of your kids, similar to what it is that we see right here. You pivoted, you made smart decisions. We all fail. We all do things in our life. But let me tell you why I think that that is the dumbest thing, and they're making some of the dumbest decisions that I've ever seen in my entire life. Women are naturally hypergamous. Women are naturally hypergamous, meaning that if you are hypergamous, then you are looking for the best available option by default. That is something that is inherently programmed into you by God. So if you're going against your very nature to do something that's not even in your best interest, how can I sit there and say that you are a smart person, that you are a wise person, that you are somebody that I then should value in the same way that I look at everybody else? If you by nature look for the best available option, even without trying, it's within you, regardless of how it is that you raise, you want by default, most women want a man for provision and protection first before anything else. Trey, I don't care about how you feel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what it is that we do over here on the Millionaire Morning Show, but one of my slogans is fuck your feelings. We just get straight to it. The problem with society today is that they don't get straight to it. They so busy trying to make you feel good instead of giving you the insight and information on how it is that you can level up and become the best version of yourself, that we've become a PC culture, and that's why you're so far behind as a group. If a woman by nature is unable to tap into her femininity and the thing that she has as God given in order to make the best decision for herself and her children, in which she is ultimately going to nurture to become whatever it is that they are. And if she is unable to make a smart decision with regard to the person that she wants to have kids with, and she decides that she wants to have kids out of wedlock by multiple different people that don't even give a fuck about her, and then she's looking for somebody to save her at the finish line at the end of that rainbow, then I have to say that that is a very unwise person, and they are making dumb decisions throughout their life. That ain't judging. That's just the reality of it. If you a fool, you a whole fool, not a half a fool. If you fat, you fat. If you skinny, you skinny. If you tall, you tall. If you short, you short. Why we want to sit here and not put a label on things all of a sudden because it make you feel bad? We have to make smart decisions every single day. And the only way that you're able to do that is by removing how you feel and making a business decision first. The person that you lay next to every single day will be one of the biggest business decisions that you make in your life. That ain't your job. It ain't your car. It ain't how it is that you feel, right? It ain't your investment portfolio. The person that you lay next to every day will be the determining factor for whether or not you are a king or whether or not you are a queen. Shout out to Brittany Griner. If the person that you lay next to every day can't tap into you when they say, hey, fam, I got a bad feeling about it. If they not praying for you every day, then you're making a bad decision. If they not bringing you peace because they understand that the best version of you absolutely affects them and it's the best version of them, then you're making a bad decision. If you can't travel and leave your house without worrying about what the heck is going on when you're not there, then you're making a bad decision. If they not the best person for you as far as the person that is going to raise your children, then you're making a bad decision. I would never, ever close my eyes next to or lay down with somebody that I do not absolutely trust with my life. And I don't understand how y'all do it on a regular basis. It is wild to me. It is absolutely wild to me. So when we have these conversations, not only about relationships, but the women that we lay next to and then subsequently the men that you lay with, relationships aren't just relationships. Relationships are the biggest business decisions, which is one of the reasons why it's something that we have to attack on a regular basis on the Millionaire Morning Show. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do you know that people that are married successfully, because it's a difference between being married and being successfully married, people that are successfully married ultimately make way more money in the end? Did you know that? Did you know that that is a fact? Do you know that there's certain circles that you can't get into without being married and bringing your wife there because people don't feel comfortable around other people that are not married, especially when you in her higher up circles, right? Who you pick to be your wife or who it is that you surround yourself with is often at times one of the litmus tests to determine whether or not you're somebody that's good to do business with. If you can't control your own household, then often at times they make the determination that they don't want to be associated with you because you don't have anything to lose and you're not making smart decisions on a regular basis as to who it is that you're aligning yourself with. It's a business decision. It's money to be made here. It's bags to secure here. Listen, we bag chasers. I'm not telling you that you have to get married. I'm telling you that you have to be careful with who it is that you plant your seed in, who it is that you align yourself with. If I see a woman, let's come back to this conversation right here. If I see a woman, very early in my life, I had identified the type of women that I didn't want to be associated with, that I never wanted to have sex with, even when I was a child. If I see a woman that's going to align herself with dope dealers, you think that I would ever put myself in a position with a woman that wanted to align herself with dudes that was selling poison in their community and was putting their whole life on the line and possibly going to jail for the rest of their life? You think that I would ever align myself with a woman like that? You think that I would ever align myself with a woman that can't make a smart decision on who it is that she can lay her head next to? Y'all would just do it just based off of how she looked. Y'all rocking with her just based off of whether or not she gonna open her legs to you in the same night. You think I want to align myself sexually with a woman that any other man can have? If it's easy for you to get it and you a piece of trash, then why would I ever put my Johnson in it? That's a smart business decision for me. If I see everybody going left, I start to question what the heck is over there that's going left, and I probably need to avoid it because it's going to be a tragedy over there. I've always been smart enough to assess the situation from a distance to prevent myself from being financially in a bad situation long term. I knew I was never going to go in family court. I knew I was never going to have kids out of wedlock. I never worried about the possibility of ever putting my seed in a woman that didn't want to have. I never put myself in a position to where a woman would make the determination for whether or not she had kids after I got her pregnant. You know why? Because I wouldn't lay down with a woman that I wasn't truly rocking with. And even if I did, I would have strapped up, put the Jimmy extra tight, just like on Menace to Society. I'm different, bruh. I'm different, bro. I'm a whole nother dude. Let me tell you something. I'd rather be spending money on my glasses, my watches, my drip, my cars. I'd rather be flying first class than sitting here taking care of a kid that you won't even let me see at the end of the day. How? And then a lot of y'all want to make excuses and say stuff to me like, well, it's the woman's and it's this. Yes, we don't absolve women from being held accountable. But more importantly, I'm never going to put myself in a line of fire either. Of course we should hold women accountable for shooting you in the head. But why would you even give her the gun? Yeah, she should go to jail. Yeah, she should be held accountable. Of course we're not going to absolve her, especially in a time and space where women is advocating for equal. But I'm never going to put my head in a line of sight for a woman to shoot me in the first place. That's your job, not mine. That's your job, not mine. You ain't never got to worry about me looking like a whole fool. I make a mistake for something that I'm not aware of, mistakes on me. I do it twice, shame on me. Y'all just like to do it 3 and 4 times and all of that. That's wild to me.